All right.
Oh,
Hey,
goodness.
let me ask you a question, guys. So we already talked about the roster, right, for 2022. Do you see this as an improvement over the 2021 roster? Is it equal, better, worse, whatever?
Are we just talking defense here?
Well,
Defense, just defense.
Oh,
Can I go first?
that's a hard question.
Yes,
Go ahead, Tyler.
Tyler, go ahead.
Better. I think our defense will be noticeably better this fall than it was last year.
That's actually
Is it
bold.
better than
That's
personnel?
a bold take. That's a bold take.
And I think there's two things. One, last year's defense was good. I think the fact that our defense every year has gotten a little bit better, I think has kind of jaded fans about how good our defense really was last year. Like, I think people make it out to believe this was borderline classic Blackshirts, and it wasn't that. So I think that the defense last year is a little bit rated. But two, I legitimately think we have a chance to be a 40 sack team this year. And if you can be that type of pass rush, like I looked this up, the teams that had 40 sacks this year, they're all top 25 defenses. So
Right.
if I think we can have that type of pass rush, we're going to be better than the 40th best defense in the country. Now, granted, if our pass rush sucks, then that changes the skew. But I think our pass rush is going to be elite. And if you have something like that elite, like it changes. You can have a little worse secondary. You can have a little bit worse secondary if you have a really great pass rush.
If you've got four guys lining up front and you don't have to scheme up a blitz to get pressure on a quarterback, then I absolutely agree. Our defensive backs are not going to have near as much on their plate this year as they did last year. If O'Shawn Mathis can be God dang it, if we can get 25, 30 more hurries on a quarterback this year.
Yeah, and if only there was a
huge difference.
And if only there was a package already established that had four really good pass rushers going after the quarterback.
Is it named after a false sport, Tyler?
A sport that is better than horse racing called NASCAR.
There's no such thing.
Justin, I'll answer your question with I'll be a little bit different here. I must say equal. I don't think they take a step back necessarily. I think there's some inexperience on this team that will stop it from taking a step forward. Talent-wise, I think they're there. I just think there's a little bit of inexperience that will cause us some problems.
I think they can get better, but I think starting off the year, I think we're almost in trouble. Fortunately, our easiest games are in the first half of the season. Fortunately, right? But I think it's going to take some time for some of these guys to gel together and start to look like a Shenander defense.
Yeah.
But I worry. I mean, that was not
Here's
hyperbole.
what I'll say. Here's what I'll say.
Hyperbole. Me talking about defensive tackles, safeties, and cornerbacks being weak links on the defensive side.
Do I think this defense right now is better than 2021? As a defense playing together, frick, we don't know yet. Talent level, overall, yeah, this defense has more talent than we had in 2021. No doubt in my mind. Is it going to translate on the field? That's the question. That's the question that Shenander has to answer. And if there's anybody that I believe on this coaching staff that can figure out how to make those pieces work together, it's Eric Shenander. And none of us thought that was true 4.5, 5 years ago. So I feel pretty good about it. And gosh, guys.
Well, I was going to say that
Go ahead.
So to answer Tyler's question, I think potential. Do we have the potential to be a way better, or just even a marketedly better defense than last year? Absolutely. We have a lot of potential to have a defense that we haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. But it very much so depends on, can Mathis be what we want him to be? Is Drew going to contribute? Is Wynn going to contribute? Is Kane Williams going to be worth anything? Is Tommy Hill actually going to show up? Is Tyreek Johnson going to be a 5-star talent on a 5-star performance on a field? can Noah Pola Gates actually, reach his potential? We have a ton of potential to be a really, really good defense if the talent can translate on the field, game in, game out. But if I were to exclude all of those exceptions, if Kane Williams and all of those guys that I named off, if they don't actually pan out, we definitely take a step back as a defense. If we have all these guys that we're plugging in from the transfer portal and they don't play out, we will take a step back as a defense for sure.
I will agree with Tyler in this aspect. To sit here and talk about the 2021 defense being what they were. I mean, they were a good defense. They were better than I think people wanted or expected. It is what it is. They were a number 50 defense. So can this defense be a top 50 defense? I mean, I think it's possible. Absolutely. I think the talent level alone could get you in a top 50 defense. I just, with the inexperience, I struggle to think that it becomes what he says as a top 25 defense. So I don't think that happens. But
especially when you're replacing that many super seniors that came back to make this defense as good as what they were.
But I'm not expecting it. But can they get to a top 50 defense? I think they can.
Well, I think last year, I think that we weren't.
We finished
statistically
in the 30s last year.
Statistically, we were a top 50 defense. But I think if you think about the context of what made them a 50th ranked defense is if you have the offense putting the defense in better positions and not giving away the ball inside of their own side of the field, and our special teams doesn't absolutely jack shit up all the dang time. I think our defensive stats look way better because they were constantly playing on their heels last year.
Yeah,
and so I really think that our defense statistically does not do an actual service towards how damn good our defense was last year. If our offense and our special teams gave the defense a way better field to work with, I think our defense would have been a top 30 defense, like just based on how talented they were and how they hung into every single game and played with, an Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin. They were doing great things against those teams, but they weren't helped out by our offense or our special teams at all. It was actually a net negative for them on almost every given circumstance.
Statistically, our offense was like a top 30 offense. So
statistically, but not in scoring.
You can look at the statistics and just look at them on an individual.
You can talk about scoring, that's fine, but you talk about the offense putting them in such a bad place all the time. The offense wasn't putting them in that bad a place all the time. Hell, they were moving the ball over the field.
And I don't think they turned the ball over a lot last year.
Well,
not like they did in years past.
Right.
No.
To your point, Derrick. To your point, Eric Schnander designs a defense to not give two craps from Sunday about what happens between the 20s, except for turnovers. That's all
fair.
He really cares about, right? And our offense is designed to do a lot between the 20s and hopefully have a home run hit here and there whenever. And we didn't have a lot of home runs last year. I don't think Frost understood how to design a freaking offense that could score from somewhere inside the 35-yard line.
I'm going to tell you something. I think our offense had plenty of big plays last year. Our problem was when we got in, or we had the big plays. We hit the home runs last year.
We just couldn't capitalize off of them officially. Like actually make it reflect 6 points on the board or even 3 points on the board a lot of the time.
The 3 points was the problem. The 3 points was the problem.
Yes. Now you're getting to special teams. That was the biggest problem.
I distinctly remember when we were inside of the red zone, it was like we couldn't get out of our own way.
Nope.
And statistically speaking, if we want to get into statistics, we had a way better chance of going 11-1 than we went 3-9.
Yes. And that's the reason why I have confidence. And
so that's why it's like our offense. I mean, our offense would have been even better if we were actually capitalizing on opportunities on special teams or just in the red zone.
But that's not. If you're getting to the red zone, you're not putting your defenses back against the wall.
Yeah, and I want to go back to something Justin said. I'm sorry, but like he made a comment about how we are fortunate that we start with weak offenses, and I think that's a very good reason why. Because like we're going to get time to get confidence. We're going to get time to figure out our personnel. We have margin for error early in the year. With the exception of Oklahoma, like, who is that offense that scares you early in the year? Like, is it Noah Vedral coming? I mean, like, are we scared of Noah Vedral? I don't think so. I mean, who the hell is
Vedral there, though?
I thought Noah Vedral was done. Is he really coming back?
He's coming back for another year.
Yep, he's coming back.
Good
he
God,
was
he's
hurt
like
almost
40.
Yeah.
He's older than I am. He's 42, 43 years old.
And, I mean, Indiana, not great.
Nobody's older than you, dude.
I mean, Northwestern's offense has not been great for a while. I think we've got opportunities to get some momentum early in the year. And I think you're playing with a little bit more confidence. I'm really high on this defense. And again, maybe Garrett Nelson isn't going to be a double-digit sacks guy. And Scott, you made a comment. Like, if all of our transfers, like we brought in, don't hit, then we're not going to be that good. Well, I agree with you. I 100% agree with that stance. If Tommy Hill sucks and Kane Williams doesn't do anything and none of these defensive linemen do anything, then we're probably going to not be very good. I agree with that. I see us building a team like Michigan State did last year with a lot of transfers. I'm not saying we're going to be quite Michigan State. I'm just saying when you're going to be a top 10 transfer portal team, I think that means something. I don't know what it means. I think it means something.
Could very well mean something.
Well,
hopefully UCLA is going to use that as well.
3 wins.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hopefully, this team doesn't completely shit the bed this year, like Justin shit his pants earlier.
It was mostly dry, Ken.
Okay, well, it didn't sound that way. I think we completely finished this one. So next, damn it. You know what? This isn't our shortest one now. It's almost
we got into the weeds longest, a little bit there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if Justin didn't have the incident earlier, we would have been done 10
You guys could have
ago.
continued the show while I wiped my ass, okay? I mean, you guys could have done that, but you chose to wait.
It was too much fun. We couldn't quit laughing. It was just like 7th grade all over again.
You'll have to watch the YouTube highlight because we kind of paused for a second because we were like, did that really just happen?
Was that what did you guys hear that? Well, yeah, how couldn't you?
I do think it's gonna be funny when this becomes like a national meme, like that random guy shits himself on a podcast. It's just gonna be that 20-second clip.
How would you?
Hey, we have to do a quick stitch of that, and it definitely has to be.
It will be
YouTube Shorts.
It will be
YouTube Shorts.
Will be a YouTube.
If it makes both our podcasts
go
viral, it was well worth it.
Thank you for your ass, Justin.
Oh gosh, you know what? I can only imagine how much fun we're going to have next month when we start to get offensive, when we pick the offensive players. So that's what we're planning to do.